Start the Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavad Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Welcome to our weekly Bhagavad Sanga program. In this program, devotees read a particular set of prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam and share their realizations from reading the verses. We are continuing the theme of the prayers of Akrura. The reference for these prayers is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 40, verse 1 through 30. These are very beautiful prayers, and today we have a very wonderful devotee presenting, our Grace Aditi Mataji. Mataji, thank you so much for accepting this service. Over to you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna devotees, Jai Srila Prabhupada. I want to thank Satyasara Prabhuji and Jai Subhadra Mataji, Veena Mataji and Prashant Prabhu for giving me this opportunity to give this presentation, which I'm giving only for my self-purification. So before we start the presentation, I will do the invocation mantras. Om Agyanam Timirandasya Jnananjala Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishta Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantika. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees. So before I go to the prayers of Akrura, we are going to first learn why Akrura and when did he start saying these prayers. So we'll go through the slides on my PowerPoint and I will explain why Akrura wanted to say these prayers. So first we come to Narada visits Kamsa. So when Krishna was 16 years, the sage Narada went before Kamsa and revealed to him Krishna's real identity and whereabouts. Kamsa, the tyrant king who was Krishna's uncle, knew that the boy had grown up in spite of all his efforts to destroy the child. So Kamsa had tried many things to destroy Krishna when he was growing up. There was the Putna, the demons, and there were so many ways he had tried to destroy him. But he was indestructible. People reminded him of the prophecy that Krishna may come and kill him. So Kamsa was very scared. And at any point, he was like, this is what I have to do. I have to destroy this child somehow. In fear of his life, the demon Kamsa then arranged a devious plan to kill Krishna and his elder brother Balram. Kamsa sent his minister Akrura to bring Krishna and Balram to Mathura. Now we come to Akrura's trip to Vrindavan. Akrura was a true devotee of Lord Krishna. And as he traveled from Mathura to Vrindavan on his chariot, all his thoughts were wrapped in the sight of the Supreme Beloved, Lord Krishna. Akrura struggled to fathom the good fortune. He thought that he was so fortunate that he was about to see the object of his meditation, the sense of his life, Krishna and Balram. While traveling, he thought about the beautiful smiling face of Krishna, marked with a tilaka, the curly black hair, his beautiful eyes, his lovely smile. And he went on meditating about Krishna and Balram. He thought that all his sinful reactions have been washed away and his birth has actually become fruitful, since now he was going to offer his obeisances to the lotus feet of his beloved Lord Krishna. Then Akrura started seeing auspicious signs, like the deer walking past on his right side, and many other different signs, which elevated his mood and his excitement, and he anticipated his meeting with the Lord. Akrura at last arrives at the outskirts of Vrindavan. First thing Akrura observed were the footprints of Lord Krishna, which were decorated by special markings: a lotus flower, a rod, a flag, an umbrella. All these were markings on the footprints of Lord Krishna. Seeing this, Akrura was overwhelmed with ecstasy. Out of extreme jubilation, he touched the dust which was there on the lotus feet and put it on his head. Then he fell flat on his face and began to roll on the ground. He was so happy to see the footprints. As Akrura entered the city, he saw Krishna and Balaram wearing yellow and blue clothes in the village of Vraja, going to milk the cows. With tears streaming from his eyes, Akrura jumped from the chariot. Overcome with devotion, he fell at the feet of Lord Krishna. Akrura then approached Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai and requested the permission to take Krishna and Balaram with him to Mathura. He also revealed Kamsa's devious plan, that he was actually planning to kill the brothers. Upon hearing this, the two brothers started laughing. Krishna leaves for Mathura. When all the Brajvasis learned that Akrura had come to take Krishna away to Mathura, the most intimate devotees, the gopis, were the ones who were overwhelmed with grief at the idea of separation from the beloved. They were in agony. They cried out against the cruelty of providence and also expressed displeasure with Akrura. They said, "You are cruel, although your name is not cruel." Actually, Akrura means not cruel. But they said that Akrura was being Krura, that is cruel, because they were separating them from the beloved Lord Krishna. The Vrajavasis experienced Vipralamba Bhava, or the mood of intense separation from the beloved Krishna, when they heard that Krishna and Balaram were going to Mathura and going to leave Vrindavan. This shows us the mood of pure devotees, that when they are separated from the Supreme Lord, they are always in agony, their tears always flowing from their eyes. Now, on the way towards Mathura, there comes the river Yamuna. So Krishna and Balaram stopped, to do their Sandhya prayers, and they bathed in the river Yamuna. After which Akrura also requested that he also wanted to bathe in the river Yamuna. When Akrura entered the water of the river, to his surprise, he saw that both the brothers Krishna and Balaram were within the waters of the Yamuna. He was certainly confused, since he had left them sitting on the chariot. He went back to the chariot to see whether Akrura saw that Krishna and Balaram were there chatting and laughing, and they were in the chariot. He thought he was definitely hallucinating. So Akrura dove back into the water, and this time he saw Ananta Sheshnag, the 1,000-headed serpent with Narayan reclining on him, with the 7 rishis and devas surrounding and praying to both of them. Akrura was overwhelmed with great devotion. He bowed his head before the Lord, and with folded hands and a choking voice, he began to compose his prayers and pay homage to the Lord. Now, prayer or vandanam is the 6th of the 9 devotional service of 9 process. From the 9 process of devotional service, vandanam or prayer is the 6th process. It is an intensely personal process because everyone, it is universal. Everyone in this world prays to the Lord. This is one of the most basic processes. Scriptures are filled with prayers, and when we have to establish a unique relationship with our Lord, the first thing we do is pray to him. Just as Arjun became famous for his Sakya Bhakti and Hanuman for his Dasya Bhakti, Akrura became famous for his Vandana, or prayers and prostrations to Sri Krishna. So now that we have learned how And why Akrura said these prayers, I will now explain the 10th canto, chapter 40, verses 1 to 30, which are actually the prayers of Akrura. I will be giving a brief, in brief, all the different verses, and I will tell you how Akrura actually glorifies the Lord. So in the first verses 1 to 3, Akrura says, "My dear Lord, I pay my respectful obeisances unto you because you are the supreme cause of all causes and the original, inexhaustible personality Narayan. From your navel, a lotus flower grows, and from that lotus, Lord Brahma, the creator of this universe, is born. Now, since Brahma is the cause of this universe, and the Lord Krishna is the cause of Brahma, we therefore call Lord Krishna the cause of all causes. All the elements of this cosmic manifestation, which is the earth, water, fire, air, ether, ego, the total material energy, as well as sense objects, the demigods, the marginal energy, the living entities, all are produced from your body. The Lord has inexhaustible potencies, and though He's distributed Himself everywhere, His personality has not become lost. So we see that even the Lord has given birth to so many things. He has brought about this creation. All the energies are within Him, but He is whole and separate from it. Nothing, He is not changed. He remains the same. And this is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 9.4 verse. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktam murtina matsthani sarvabhutani na chaham tesha avastita. Which means, by me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Although all creation, spiritual and material, is Krishna's energy, and his energy is not different from himself, he is aloof from everything, and he is eternally enjoying the original personality. Akrura further says, "You are the super soul of everything, but no one knows your transcendental form. Everyone within this material world is influenced by the modes of material nature. Even demigods like Lord Brahma are covered by the influence of material nature and do not know your true identity. But by the mercy of the Supreme, if anyone in any species of life surrenders to him seriously, then he is freed from Maya and he can be brought up to the spiritual level." This was a special benediction of Lord Chaitanya for the specially fallen souls of Kali Yuga. Lord Chaitanya said, simply by chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the unfortunate souls of Kali Yuga can cross over millions of births of wandering and attain a spiritual status which is beyond the material modes. Now in the next verses, which is verse 4 to 10, Akrura describes all the different people who worship the Lord. He says, "Great sages and mystics worship you as the supreme personality of Godhead, the original cause of all living entities, all cosmic manifestation, and all demigods. Some of the learned Brahmanas also worship you by observing the ritualistic ceremony and chanting hymns from the Vedas. They offer different kinds of sacrifices in the names of different gods. And there are others who also worship because of his transcendental knowledge. They are very peaceful, these worshippers, and they want to gain all knowledge. And they are like the Gyan yogis. who want to get all the knowledge about the Lord. Then yet there are others who are pure, who follow the Vaishnava scriptures and are the pure devotees, whose minds are always absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord, and they worship you as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Akrura goes on to talk about the people who worship demigods. He says that demigods such as Brahma and Shiva are incarnations from the emanations from the body of Narayana. So actually there are no one existing before the creation except Narayana. And then the demigods came into being. Therefore, Akrura says that instead of worshiping all these demigods, it is best to worship the Lord himself. Go directly to the Lord instead of worshiping the demigods. Here, Akrura gives us an example of the rivers which are flowing from the mountains after it has rained. All these small rivulets flow down and ultimately reach the sea. They have to reach the sea or the ocean. So the same way, we ultimately have to reach Lord Krishna. Then why pray to all these demigods and then go to the Lord? Let's all directly pray to Lord Krishna. According to Vedic principles, when a worshipper worships a particular demigod, that demigod cannot fulfill the desires of the worshippers without the sanction of Narayana or Krishna. These exact words are in the Bhagavad Gita 7.22. Sataya shraddhaya yuktas tasya radhanam ihate labate cha tatha kaman mayeva vihitan hitan, which means that the demigods can award some benediction after being authorized only by the Supreme Lord. Akrura then talks about how we are all covered with material modes. He says, my dear Lord, the whole world is filled with the three material modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Everyone within this material world is covered by the modes, even Lord Brahma, and also plants and trees. Except for you, everyone is being carried away by the waves of these modes. Akrura prays that the Lord is the universal form. He says, my Lord, the fire is your mouth, the earth is your feet, the sun is your eye, the sky is your navel, the directions are your ears, space is your head, the demigods are your arms, the oceans and seas are your abdomen, and the winds and air are your strength and vitality. All the plants and herbs are the hair on your body. The clouds are the hair on your head. The mountains are your bones and nails. And the days and nights are the twinkling of your eyelids. In verses 16 to 22, Akrura then glorifies the incarnations and pastimes of the Lord. No one can estimate how many forms and incarnations you have, nor can anyone estimate the number of universes that are existing within you. Akrura prays to the first incarnation, Lord Matsya. In the Matsya avatar, Lord Vishnu is said to have rescued the first man, Vasishtamanu, and the 7 sages during the flood. Akrura then prays to Lord Hayagriva, who defeated darkness by retrieving the Vedas, which were stolen by the demons, Madhu and Kaitava. Akrura then offers his respectful obeisances to Lord Kurma, who takes the form of a giant tortoise to support the Mandara mountains during the churning of the cosmic ocean by the Devas and Asuras. The churning yields the divine nectar of immortality, which is Amrit. Akrura then pays homage to the boar incarnation, Lord Varaha, for rescuing the mother goddess Bhudevi from the depths of the ocean where she was submerged. Akrura offers his obeisances to Lord Narasimhadev, who killed the Asura king Hiranyakashipu and established peace, order, and righteousness on this earth. He then prays to Lord Vamandev, who covered the three worlds simply by expanding his lotus feet. Akrura offers respectful obeisances to Lord Rama, the ideal king, who killed the demon Ravana. He also offered obeisances to the Lord who appeared as Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. He prayed to the Lord as he came as Lord Buddha, who taught people ways to end all kinds of sufferings through the noble eightfold paths. And then Akrura prays to Kalki, the annihilator of all evil, by defeating the demon Kali and starting a new yuga where dharma will prevail. In verses 23 to 28, Akrura admits that he himself is helplessly in illusion regarding spiritual knowledge. My dear Lord, I am also no different from these conditioned souls. I am falsely thinking myself happy by possessing my home, wife, children, property, and all the material things which are there in this world. I am acting as if I'm in a dreamland, that I have everything and I am the most happiest person in this world. But we all know that none of this is permanent. I am a fool to be always absorbed in such thoughts and all these material things, accepting them as true and permanent. My dear Lord, due to my false identification, I have accepted everything which is non-permanent, such as this material body, which is not spiritual and is the source of all kinds of miserable conditions. Being beloved by the concepts of life, I am always absorbed in thoughts of duality and have actually forgotten who I am and that you are actually the reservoir of transcendental pleasure. I am bereft of your transcendental association, just like a foolish creature who leaves a lush oasis to search for water in the desert. The conditioned soul want to quench their thirst, but they are so absorbed in this material world that they do not see the reservoir of water, and they keep running in the desert here and there in search of water. My dear Lord, I'm completely incapable of controlling my mind, which is now driven by unbridled senses and attracted by fruitive activities and the results. In the last two verses, which is 29 and 30, Akrura further says, my dear Lord, your lotus feet cannot be appreciated by any person who is in this conditional stage of material existence. But somehow or the other, Akrura says that I have come so near your lotus feet, and I consider this to be your causeless mercy upon me. You can act in any way because you are the supreme controller. I can thus understand that when a person becomes eligible to be delivered from the path of repeated birth and death, it is only by your causeless mercy that he further progresses to become attached to your causeless devotional service. Akrura fell down before the Lord and said, my dear Lord, your transcendental eternal form is full of knowledge. You are the supreme Brahman and the supreme person, supreme controller and the master of the material energies. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you because you are Vasudeva, the resting place of all creation. You are the all-pervading supreme personality of Godhead, and you are also the supreme super soul residing in everyone's heart and giving direction to act. Now, my Lord, I am completely surrendered unto you. Please give me your protection. So while Akrura was offering his prayers to the Supreme Lord, the Lord disappeared from the vision. After the disappearance of the Vishnu form, Akrura came out of the water and walked back to the chariot where Krishna and Balaram were sitting. Upon seeing them, Akrura was struck with wonder. Krishna then asked him whether he had seen something wonderful in the water. And Akrura said, my dear Lord, all wonderful things that are happening within this world, either in the sky or in the water or on the land, are factually appearing in your universal form. When I have seen you, what wonderful things remain to be seen. There cannot be anything more wonderful than your transcendental form. Hare Krishna. With this, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Wow, amazing class, Mataji. Thank you so much. Um, well, I can't believe you went through everything. So it was very nice. You started with the background of, Kamsa, Narada, um, who Akrura is. I really like the point you made that Akrura was going to see the object of his meditation, which was Krishna. How he was thinking about Krishna, Krishna's beauty, um, how he rolled in the dust of Vrindavan, and then how the gopis lament because they are going to be separated from Krishna, and how we should, that's this same mood that devotees should have, that when we are separated from Krishna, we should feel agony, but because we are so fallen, I am so fallen, we don't feel agony. Um, uh, you described the pastime of when they went to the river and he sees Akrura sees Krishna and Balaram and then he sees Narayan. So very nicely you explained the pastime Mataji, and then um, all the verses you summarized very, very succinctly. I'll cover a few points. You talked about how he's the supreme cause of all causes. Everything, all material energies are coming from Krishna. You also mentioned how the verse from 9.4, how he's separate from he's separated from his energies and he's aloof from his energies, but they're all the same. Um, the super soul is everything, all the ways we can worship Krishna, rituals, all the way to devotional service, why we should worship Krishna directly instead of worshiping demigods. Um, and then, you talked about how Akrura starts glorifying the qualities of the Lord, how we can see Krishna in the material world and all the incarnations of the Lord. Um, and then finally, you explained how Akrura recognizes, he's a fallen soul. He's ignorant and he's accepted everything that's non-permanent and he's forgotten his true purpose, which is to serve the Lord. And finally, the last few verses you talked about everything comes from the causeless mercy of the Lord. And Akrura is saying how he got the opportunity because of Krishna's mercy. And all wonderful things are coming from Krishna. So thank you, Mataji, for very, very wonderful class. And personally, I hope to hear more from you. Thank you for the nice service and glorifying Akrura's prayers. So, with that, devotees, thank you all for joining. We will continue our program next week. Um, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, devotees.
Hare
Stop.